Hi class, let's create a free Wix.com website for yourself this week. This one is going to be about just getting the basics and using a blank template. You'll log in or get started by selecting this button. Since I have an account, I'll log in. I'll continue with Google. You won't have these sites here. What you will have is the Create New Site button, so select that. Make sure you stay on the Create on Wix editor. It's the free one. Do not use the AI. It will make up things for you, and the hallucinations are not going to help you make a good grade. So let's skip all of these. Skip. Goals, we're going to skip that. It's trying to create one for you. That's not what we want. And skip. So here we are. Do not use the connect a custom domain. That is not a naming convention here for your site. It is purchasing a domain and you don't need one. Let's go to design site. We are going to choose a template, but we're not going to choose a pre-made template. So do pick a template. Come over to blank templates. And we're going to go ahead and choose the one from scratch. There's really nothing to view. We're going to edit this site. And you'll see when you first open up new items that you will use. Most of these you won't use. You will use add elements and you will use pages and menu quite a bit. Maybe a section and maybe site design, right? But that should be it. So you can see up here, when you have your pages, you'll be able to select which one you want to work on. Right now, we only have the heading and a strip and the footer. So let's start with the header. I'm going to add an element. You could just go to the plus sign, but when you use this, it's going to get you in the ballpark. We want to add a menu. I'm going to drag a menu to my header. You'll see that we just have a home page because we haven't built pages. Try and stay within this canvas, this grid line. You have tools here. You can turn your grids on. Okay, you'll be able to see layers. You can see we only have the header, the footer, and a page section or strip. So what we want to do with this assignment is add pages. We're going to do that on the Pages and Menu tool. Let's go here. We know we're going to need a contact page, right? We only need a few pages for this assignment, but we're going to use a contact. We want to choose the simplest so we don't have to remove content. So let's add a page. Choosing the basic. Now we have our contact. So you can either fill this in because it's placeholder text. So that's important. We can't leave it blank. I'm going to take it out for this demonstration. And I'm going to raise this so we don't have a gap there. All right. You're going to remove your phone number because that doesn't need to be available online to everyone. You can take this information and move it over if you like. But this, you're going to update and add your email. And the way you're going to do that, you can link it to an email and add your email address there. Okay. So select that. All right. And now that's linked. For your socials, you're going to at least have a LinkedIn. Some of you may have an Instagram or TikTok. But what we do is we select that and we go to set social links. I'm going to just make sure that you have a LinkedIn, maybe an Instagram. If you needed more, say a YouTube, you're going to select that, search for YouTube, and choose one of the icons that matches. I'm going to select it, come over here, and put your Instagram and done. Then you're almost finished with your contact page. Okay. So I still think I want to bring this up a little bit so we don't have so much scrolling. All right, we need a footer. So let's start this. We don't want a deep footer with a lot of content. We really just want to have our copyright year and our name. So let's just go to a text, stay with our theme, and choose one of these. We're going to bring that down here, just drag and drop. And then you're going to select Option G, at the same time. And that will give you the copyright symbol. and you're going to say 2026 and your name. Okay? If you want to do this, you'll be able to tell when it's centered or left aligned, whatever you choose. Okay, so now we have our footer. Sometimes you can put your social there. All right, so we need other pages. All right, so let's go to Pages and Menu again, and let's add your projects page. If you choose one of these, you'll be able to, if you have still images, you could use this one, the side by side, and you'll have your area for creating content. You can also create a blank page. We can call this your projects or your portfolio or your works page. We do want to have our heading be the same. If we have a heading here, we want it the same as what wording we put here at the top in our menu. All right, so now we can go here. We have some choices. We can go here. Now we can add a gallery. If you have videos, you might choose one of these. This would be a sliding gallery. Okay, and then you would write this. You can bring it in, which I recommend keeping it within your grid lines here. Okay, you can manage media, see your layouts. You can choose a different layout. Settings. You could have it open in expanded mode or not, or nothing happen. Design, text, title, and description. So that's where we are. So you can affect, maybe you want it smaller, bigger, something like that. That's really up to you as long as it's at least legible. Spacing. All right. Alignment, things like that. Play videos on click. We don't want them to play automatically. You want your user to have control over whether a video plays or not. So you have some options here. Okay, so here's where you're going to give it a title. Okay, this is where you're going to say your role, what you did, maybe the equipment that you used, that kind of thing. Be consistent. Alt text is just a description of the work visually. So maybe in this case it's a, so we can go here. You could delete all of them in the beginning and add a new one. But we're going to go here, remove it. But we do not want these. We do not want the templates. That's why we used a blank. And I will show you how to use a blank. So you don't have to even do this. All right. So you have this. You can say done, or you can say add media and a video and upload your video, or from YouTube, put your URL there and add the video here. And then again, give it the name. Now, YouTube will generally carry over some of the text, the titles and things like that. All right, then you'll say done, and you have this. Okay. You do need to have all of this content written. You can bring it up. You can add a heading here, going to add elements, text. It's good to have a heading 1 somewhere on your site page. So these can be video editing or something, or maybe it's just videos. Okay, so there's that. Now we have these pages. You're also going to need an about page. So let's go here and let's choose, we could choose an about page, or we could just create a blank. Okay, let's try a blank this time. So we have a blank page. We're going to name it about. You don't have to have a home page. If you want, you can delete that. And now your projects becomes your home page automatically. You can reset things as a home page, but it will take the first one, and that's fine. We don't have to have a home page. Now, for our about page, here we are. Let's add, maybe we do want to add a section here, and maybe we want to add an about section, and we want it to be simple. These are some of the simpler ones. So you could take that and drag it over. You're going to put an image, probably facing in, and you're going to fill all of this out. You do have to make sure that this is linking to something, right? Right now it says about me, so that doesn't make sense. But you could say you want it to another page and say, we know we have a page called that. Do you want it in a new window or the current? That's up to you. New windows are great because they keep people on your site should they decide to go someplace else. But we have to rename this to projects. Okay, so now this will link to your project page after they read about you. You can bring this down if you want so that you can add a few paragraphs. Not a lot, but 250 or 200 words is good. And you'll enter that here. Okay. All right, so then you're just going to add your text here. Do not use AI. It will make things up. It hallucinates still, and it will say things that aren't true. And that's all I can say about that. Students usually lose about 20 to 25 points, not because I deduct them for using AI, but because the AI hallucinates, right? Okay. So you've got projects about. The other thing you're going to need up here is your name. So I want to add, there are ways you could do it. I could do this and paste that in. That's one way I could do it. Or I can go up here, add text, and put your name and your skill. Sometimes we call that a tagline, but we're looking for a skill that you can generate income with. So this is your heading 1. Search engines and screen readers, they like heading 1s. They will read those. It doesn't mean your heading has to be huge. You can resize your heading if you want it smaller and say that's your heading 1. And then you can save it to your theme, and that will now be your heading 1. This, I could choose again, you see, and it has sized it to there, but I don't have to. All right, so you're going to do that. You're going to stay within this. You may have to make a line break here because maybe you have a longer name or something. But now you have that. You have everything you need minus your personal content here. Okay. All right. If you have a logo, it can go here. Could go over here, perhaps. You know, you can make room for it someplace. All right. So if we look at our mobile, not every class is required to handle a mobile. Web design does. Editing for the web doesn't. Okay. So you can see everything is cleared. We don't have anything running off or overlapping, and that's super important. You see that that needs to have some space because it's covering that content, which is really not uncommon. That's resizing it. But these are the kinds of things when you get to mobile that you'll work on. Just making sure that everything is not is laid out correctly the way you want. All right. Okay. And we can look at our contact page. Your contact page does require that you have a form. And using the steps that we give you, you will. You can see that these don't match. We want to make sure we use the ones that we selected. There's a lot of abilities here that you're familiar with. Just a copy paste, Command C, Command B. Okay. So you could leave that up there, but sometimes it'll end up like right on top of each other, and that you would want to spread out. This definitely has to be closed up. And any adjustments that you need to make. All right, great. Let's see what else we can do. Let's go to your project page. So let's say you didn't want to create a gallery. Okay, so let's take that out, the one we put in, and let's just go to the plus and go to videos. Grab the YouTube, and we can drag it over. All right, so here you just change video and paste in your YouTube URL. Okay, we do not autoplay. Give it a description, short description, if it doesn't come over with your video. And then you can Command C and paste that if you like. You can put it like this. If you have more than 2, we don't really want more than 3. We just want your best work. And some of you are earlier in the program and you haven't had, or maybe you're in the associate and you don't have as many works as if you were in the bachelor's already. Okay. So we do watch our padding, our alignment. So I'm making sure this is aligned with this and the padding is the same. But now we need to have our text, right? So we're going to go up here. We're going to choose something easy enough to read, drag it there, and that's where you're going to put, you know, your project title, put the project name there, and your role, because sometimes you're the videographer, sometimes you're the editor, sometimes you're the writer, sometimes you're all of those things. It's good to know what gear you use. If you're a graphic designer, it's good to know if you used Adobe Illustrator or exactly, you know, Photoshop, whatever you used. And here, maybe you're an editor and maybe you use Premiere Pro or something else. Okay. And again, you can Command C, Command V, and place those. Okay, make sure this, see the distance here compared to that. We're going to make those the same. Okay, you can tell by the purple line when it's aligned. All right, but this one is down here and this one is up at the top. I've kind of aligned it with the top there. I could do that. Aligning it with that, or you could come down further. Just make sure you're consistent about what you're doing. All right. Okay, so then you would have your examples. That's really everything that you need for this assignment. All right. I do feel that's not centered. And then you're going to go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that everything is just the way you want it. All right, and yours will look different from mine. Okay, this is just the basics of what you need. If you want to or need to freeze your header, you can do this. Fades out, freezes. That means it's going to stay with your content. We'll publish it. This is the link you're going to copy to submit to FSO. But let's go ahead and preview what we have. So you can see this is staying. Now there is an overlap. So let's see what we can do about that. Change header design, fill color and opacity. So if I make the background 100%, you can see it hasn't changed color, but what it has done, if I preview it again, sometimes it takes a second, there's no longer an overlapping of lettering, right? Because I've made this opaque. It's no longer transparent. It can't have a problem there, right? So that's a useful thing. Do try and have your headings in the same place on each page. That's a good idea. And definitely use the same kind of font. So once you submit this, then you're set. At a later date, you can always duplicate your site by going to Site and duplicating it, and then you can try different things. Maybe you have a color palette that you use. So this is white, but maybe you have another color that you're interested in. Try to avoid gradients that have radials and things like that. They're very dated. They don't work well because you have a light to dark, and then not all text is going to work. It won't have enough contrast throughout. So then maybe you want to change the background. We can go into Site Design and change the background color. We don't want to use an image because it makes things really hard to read. Overlapping videos over images is very busy and your work doesn't show well. So this is the background. I can apply it to other pages. Okay, and now it's there. If I were to take a look at my About page, it's completely there because this is content that was added on top of what is their standard background that we've set up here, the color. Could change it to another color just so you can see and apply it to other pages. I can select all pages and then that's going to be on all pages. So let's take a look now at the projects because see, we added this. So we can go here and change that to, we need to make sure there's enough contrast here so you can see the change. So this is only on this page because it was just the background strip. This is still blue on the contact and about page. So if we use white, it will disappear. That blue will go away and that will be nothing. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever and have fun.